Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're obviously talking about October, and if you saw our October forecast, you know that we are expecting warmer than normal conditions, but I do want to talk to you guys about when it could get cooler, not for a majority of the month, but when we could see some cooler conditions. Now, I know I disappointed a lot of you with our forecast yesterday because so many people want October to be cooler. So I am going to try to be a little bit optimistic here and talk about some lower probability, just some longer range stuff that does suggest there will be some colder times, kind of in the medium to long range future here. We're talking 15, maybe, yeah, about 2 weeks, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks time frame. How there could be some colder than normal conditions. Like I said before, there is warmer than normal conditions expected throughout a majority of the month of October, but that does not mean it will be warmer than normal for the entirety of October. Now, before we get into the video, be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe. Also, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, do you think we will have colder than normal conditions at any point during October? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. All right, now let's get straight into this video. And first things first, we're just taking a look at that temperature forecast. If you do want to see our October forecast, it is yesterday's video, so be sure to check it out to see the overall forecast, precipitation forecast. But here is a sneak peek at our temperature forecast. Cold in the west, warm in the east, classic negative PNA pattern, which basically just means there's colder conditions out west, and that pretty much 9 times out of 10 causes warmer than normal conditions for the central and eastern United States, as you can see here. Very classic pattern. Let's take a look at that AO chart real quick because this is what causes Arctic air to be able to make its way to the United States. And as you can see, it's going to be in its kind of slightly negative phase, but it is heading towards its positive phase. And then it could head back towards its negative phase starting on the 12th and lasting all the way through the 17th or the end of this model run. The NAO, which is our North Atlantic Oscillation, which kind of works in tandem with our AO, the one we just took a look at, is also expected to head negative a little bit earlier on, but it will be negative during the time that the AO heads negative. Here's the big one, though, our PNA, which I've always mentioned has been our driving pattern for, for a long time now, a few months, at least half the year, I would say. And as you can see, this one is expected to be strongly negative for a majority of the month here because it lasts until about the 15th. So that's the halfway mark of the month, 15th, 16th time frame. I would say 15th and a half, obviously, because we have 31 days in October. But this one is expected to start going positive around the 17th, 18th time frame, according to this model. That is when the colder than normal conditions out west could start to break up, which will, therefore, if that does take place, allow for some colder than normal conditions to potentially build in the central and eastern United States. So that is the key to all of this huge puzzle we're in. And here's actually the European weekly model, which takes us a bit further. You can see where it goes positive around the 18th, and it stays that way through the end of the month of October and even through the beginning of November. So this means that potentially the final third of October could end up being colder than normal in the central and eastern United States. We will at least be in a much more higher chance of that happening later on in the month as opposed to the first 20 days or so. Again, and I want to reiterate this and really just point this out. If the first 20 days of October are warmer than normal and the final 10 days are colder than normal, that would make October overall a warmer month in the central and eastern United States. So that is why I forecasted that. That does not mean that the entire month will be warmer than normal. That just means that a majority of the month will be warmer than normal. I hope that makes sense. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to start taking a look at 5-day increment temperature anomalies here, starting on the 2nd through the 7th. And we're just going to move on all the way through the end of October to take a look at what could take place. All right, now here we are taking a look here at the 2nd through the 7th of October, or the next 5 days. As you can see, for the northern central United States through the eastern United States, a majority of those regions are expected to be warmer than normal for this next 5-day period. Now, we are in above normal temperatures as I speak right now. But the average temperature is very low here in Virginia. It is 6 a.m. and it is currently 52 degrees outside. So it is actually quite chilly for the low temperatures, but it could be colder. If we were in colder than normal conditions, where I'm at, would likely be like 48 or something. That's the difference we're talking about here. Now, let's move on to the days 5 through 10, this is going to be the 7th through the 12th of October. And as you can see, this pattern just builds in even further. We see those colder temperatures out west. This looks exactly like my temperature forecast for the month. And this is a classic negative PNA pattern. And this is going to be the driving force that's really going to lock in this pattern until those colder than normal conditions break up in the western United States. We will not see this change very much whatsoever. As we move towards days 10 through 15, we get a little bit more optimistic here, the 12th through the 17th. I want to remind you guys, this is when those teleconnections all change their pattern. The AO, the NAO, and the PNA within this time range will be kind of switching up, and that is going to be basically what will allow the potential for a big pattern change. And this is going to be kind of when we're watching. I would say the date to watch is about the 15th through the 20th for a switch up, and then the 20th through the end of the month for an actual change in results, or maybe even an opposite in what could be expected on the ground. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on to where we will actually possibly see some colder than normal conditions in the east. Now here is days 15 through 20 or 17th through the 22nd of October. And as you can see, from Texas all the way up the East Coast, we can see colder than normal conditions set up. And by this point, this will feel much different than the conditions you were feeling before, because you will be at about 2 to 4 degrees below normal, whereas you were probably about 6 to 8 degrees above normal. So this could potentially be a 10-degree switch up or so, which is obviously a big enough difference to definitely be felt here. We see warmer than normal conditions mostly centered over the central United States by this point. And by the time we reach the 22nd through the 27th, you can see it's very similar here. Cold along the East Coast, warm in the central, but still cold out west, which is interesting. And then the 27th through the 1st of November, we can see cold pretty much everywhere. I think this is this model kind of averaging out by this point. Take this one with a grain of salt, because usually you don't see all the country seeing one condition. I've talked about this time and time again. Usually models show warm across the entire country. It's very rare that we see kind of an overwhelming pattern like that. It's not impossible, but it is quite rare. And then here's the entire 30-day period of October 2nd through November 1st. And as you can see, it looks a lot like my temperature forecast that I showed in the beginning. Now let's take a look at the GFS model. This is the first 10 days from now to the 12th. And as you can see, overwhelmingly warm conditions for basically the entire United States here outside of Washington, Oregon, and California. This is a strong negative PNA pattern. Again, the driving force behind the pattern we're in. But by the time we're taking a look at the 15th of October here, take a look at that. Those cold conditions move further east, and you can physically see that cold front from Minnesota and Washington down through a lot of Missouri, Arkansas, and then down through Texas as well, where it's nearly reaching the coast. We can see far above normal temperatures just to the east of this, but that will be ending shortly thereafter, because by the time we reach the 17th, that's going to be a Sunday of October. Look at that, warm conditions out west. That PNA goes positive, and instantly we see colder than normal conditions reach the east of the United States, the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, the Northeast, the Gulf states, and the East Coast of the United States. Now, what could this mean for your high temperatures? What could we be taking a look at? Well, on that exact frame, this is what this model is calling for the high temperatures. So look at that, the Northeast, 30s and 40s during the highs. We also see through the Mid-Atlantic upper 50s, mid-50s, and then even lower 60s. So that is a significant departure from what we're feeling right now. Obviously, we will be 17 days closer to winter, so that does play a part in it. But also, we're going to go from above normal temperatures to below normal temperatures. So it's going to be a big extreme flip if this was to take place. Now, just to kind of pump the brakes a little bit, here's our confidence tab. We're at a 3 out of 6 today. We talked about very long-range things, and it pretty much relies on all 3 of those teleconnections changing like the model is forecasting, which it usually doesn't go exactly how a model predicts this far out. So I am going to let you guys know that right out the gates. But I know a lot of people are hoping for some colder temperatures, so I wanted to give you guys a little bit of hope here today and talk about a potential date that I'm watching for a switch up that could take place, but definitely is a could and not a will. That is the crucial difference there. For today's comment of the day, I asked you guys how you expect October to go overall, and I didn't get an exact answer, so I picked something that kind of fits. Ram Tough said, I don't know about y'all in the Northeast. I'm done with summer. Bring on the crisp and frosty mornings of autumn. It's definitely a more crisp morning here in Virginia at 52, and I hope you are having those crisp and frosty mornings you're hoping for up there in the Northeast. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our Platinum patrons John Benbenick, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Lure the Pan, Mandy Birchfield, and Patrick Strickland. Again, it's going to take me some time to get through those ones fastly, the new oones there. For today's Diamond patrons, we have Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Hartley, Michael Codalessa, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Cindy Klein, Alan Goodmaben, Bill Dallas, Gary's, John Colisi, Dwight Phelan, Stephen Kernenthal, and Thomas D. Barr as well. Sorry, I choked up a little bit there. There's a lot of new names on this. We updated it with our fall art, which I hope you guys are loving as well. We will update it once again on our winter update on December 1st. For today's channel membership highlight of the day, I want to thank you also for supporting the channel. We have our channel members here, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. If you'd like to join this one, it'll be next to that subscribe button down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I will see you guys in the next video.